while. It's been so long, and that's saying something because I feel like I'm regularly inconsistent. That's a funny way to put it. I'm with putting up videos, but I'm especially inconsistent these days. Got so many things happening outside of comics and stuff like that. But I wanted to like at least do a few here and now, here and again, just just to like keep some of the flow of what I'm into, what the people I'm talking to, and the things that are kind of happening currently with some indie books and whatnot. Anyway, I used to do a show called Sunday Cup of Joe stream, and it's been a while since I did a Sunday morning, so my brain's still, I think it's definitely not used to it. I used to do this every week, so I feel like it was better at this. However, we're in here, we're ready to go. I'm gonna maybe put on some background music. Is that something that people do? Zaid popped in here and said, "Hold up, yo, dude." He wasn't ready for somebody to be streaming in the morning. Most people, Zaid is my bro, and we be doing streams sometimes on Wednesdays. And I think these days, since my work schedule and work, pretty much what I do in the real life is interrupting like the consistency of our streams. It's been weird. Yeah, Zaid's pointing out that I'm wearing Gen 1 shirts over here. I'm wearing a Gen 1 Beckoned shirt from him. This is a Beckoned shirt. He gave this to me a long time ago, and I wear it consistently. People get some. It's a fun shirt because it's like like an inverted line art kind of shirt. So people do notice when I do wear it. Figured since I went on a trip this weekend and I already wear my Star Circuit shirt, so it's already dirty. I can't shill my own project. Wasn't prepared. But yeah, cool that you're here, dude. I'm hoping other people jump in here, even though my stream schedule has been weird. But yeah, Art Bros that we normally do on Wednesdays, I think we're going to be very much moving toward something where we kind of not so consistent. However, we will just fit it in wherever we get, for both available on like a Friday night, we do it, for both available on a Monday night, we'll do it. Which sucks for people that like to plan on things, but at the same time, we'll get them out. That's what's important. So today I've got a guest. I don't want to call it an interview. Anytime I call something an interview, it feels like it's, I don't know, a little too professional for my taste. For a dude wearing a backwards hat, and dude, I didn't even realize I left Pepe Giuseppe up here. That was I just was like messing around with like rhyming names, and I guess when I re-entered StreamYard, it remembered that I put it in. Cool stuff though, awesome. And Zaid is also doing his show Thursday night, so that we could go back to back and shows at one point. But yeah, he's got his show for back in that night. Good stuff. Again, I hope people file in, but if not, you'll get it on the rewatch. I am getting subscribers, but it's hard to get people on streams at certain times these days. Anyway, let's get rolling. One more sip of coffee, and we're gonna probably talk about my projects later, but hold off on that, guys. There's plenty of time. We're doing this probably for an hour. So yeah, I met this guy, well, virtually, not even really met him. I saw him on a stream, and then we talked for a second on Twitter, and tried to do a stream a long time ago. Long time ago, we did I don't know, like a planning for a stream, I don't know, like a year ago, and then we definitely planned for one this month, and I dropped the ball last week, but we're here and ready to do this. Nandor Fox, I believe, is your last name Schaefer as well? Is that part of it?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
you got it.
Nice. Awesome,
Hey,
dude.
Joe.
But yeah,
Great to be here.
for sure. It is, even for me, it's great to be here. It feels like I'm not even here.
You're having an out of body experience like right
Right.
now.
Right. I'm really zen. I'm really can just be the activity. So it's cool that Zaid's here and keeping it real in the chat. That's the crow, dude. Oh, for saying snapback cat.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
I now I get that.
yeah, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
Zayd's like Zayd's humor is very it's like his gap that you fill for a joke is like usually 1.5. He goes 1.5 gaps instead of
Yeah.
one, which is kind of fun if you like. It's like playing chess a little bit. So Seventh Heaven intro, nice. Yeah, wish I had a real intro for this thing. But how's the morning going, Nandor?
It's going really well. As I mentioned before, I had my cup of coffee and I'm awake and ready to go. And it's been a really quiet morning here. I live in mid Missouri,
Mm.
and so it's in the heart of the Midwest, basically. And yeah, it's nice. It's been a nice morning.
Yeah. Do you guys probably compete for Midwest with like what Oklahoma and
Yeah,
Iowa, right?
yeah.
Those.
Oklahoma, Illinois, Iowa, kind of that that whole stretch of
Hmm.
the the Midwest. And but I think like I grew up in the capital of Missouri, which is called Jefferson City, and when you look on the map, it's like that. It's got to be like the center point of the Midwest, like just geographically when you look at it.
Cool. It's like because when you look at things on the map, it's totally different than
Yeah,
kind of it fills in the perception a little bit.
right. But I'm
Me and
not
Zayd are
gonna
both
I'm
from
not gonna
Kentucky too.
say it's a great uh, representation of the Midwest in terms of a capital city. It's not.
Right, right.
It's a very for a capital city. It's very small town. Like it feels like a small town, even though it's the capital city.
Yeah, yeah. Good to see Pops in the chat too. Pops Van Zant's here.
Hey,
Good
pops. Yeah, I was
hail.
just on CromCon yesterday. I was on
Nice.
a stream with him. So yeah, what's up, pops?
Yeah, Pops is the most consistent with getting like good little segments of like back to back promos
Yeah.
for people,
Yeah,
which is
he
great.
is. Yeah, I mean, I think, I feel like I try to be pretty productive or work a lot, and then I see what he's doing and I'm like, "Oh man, like I don't know. I don't know if I compare to that." He's just
Yeah,
always
I feel that
hustling.
way
Yeah.
with a few different types of streamers, or some people don't stream, but they do like extra hard marketing work outside of that. They're on forums or
Yeah.
just constantly on Twitter, and I'm like, I don't know if my brain can hold up to that.
I know, I know.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I've gotten better at Twitter. That was something I was trying to do this year, and I feel like I don't want to say I've cracked the code, but I've gotten better at engaging with people on Twitter and being more present on there. And I know over the last few months I've gained a couple hundred followers, so I'm doing something
Nice.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Like those little, like, you can't really, I guess, base a lot of your, I guess, you don't want to like tie it to your, I guess, progress or happiness or something. But yeah, it's good to see like incremental things
yeah,
happen like that. Yeah.
yeah,
So you're from the Midwest, so you got these, Smallville type of sensibilities, maybe we'll say.
yeah. No, no, I think that's a good way to put it. Small town, big dreams, that kind of thing.
Okay, nice. So, um, I guess with comic books, I mean that I bring up Smallville for a big reason because it's like our pretty much old school comic book mascot Superman is from there, and
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like the book you're working on currently is kind of tied to like these old school kind of tropes, and I mean tropes, just like themes. I don't want to call them tropes because it makes it sound like a gimmick, but or not even gimmick, but like something that could be derogatory or something.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, so how's the Smallville kind of lifestyle like? Is that something you try to incorporate in your themes in your book, or is that something you're trying to get away from? Those kind of
Um,
things,
no, it
roles.
is something. I feel like I have expertise on in a way just because I've lived it and
Hmm.
I know what it's like to sort of be the outsider or the little guy, the underdog, the person that isn't isn't the star quarterback on the high school football team. He's
Mm.
the guy that's the wallflower that's watching everyone have a good time,
Gotcha.
and is observing. I'm a very observational person. Usually if I'm in the room with a lot of people, it kind of takes me a while to get acclimated and like get social with people, and so I'm always sort of watching the situation, and I feel like that's definitely a big part of my central characters, my main characters, and all of the stories I've written. There's kind
Mm,
of this underdog sense where they they want to make it as something they see their life as something more than it currently is, and they're striving towards that goal. But there's just a lot of pushback, and there's a lot of obstacles in the way that keeps them from achieving those goals. And um, it's something I like to well, it's incredibly relatable because I know a lot of people feel that way, and even if they didn't grow up in the Midwest, yeah, I imagine growing up in a big city how even more competitive that would feel, and trying to stand out, like by being an artist or by being a musician, any kind of creative or uh, I guess like self. I don't want to say self-employed, but like when it's your dream, when everything is on your shoulders and you're having to um, really promote yourself and do everything yourself, and you're not really relying on anyone else. I feel like that's something that can just resonate with a lot of people all over.
yeah, I don't think it's like region specific. And you're right, like
Yeah.
different, but those regional things do take into effect. Um, Real quick, what's up? I think it's Ichthus, um, uh, but either way, what's up? Good to have you here.
Hey, Ichthus. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love Ichthus. He's a good friend.
nice, great, great. I'm glad he's here, repping and supporting. So Zaid's not really familiar. You're a writer, right? And
Yeah.
you're not a dual role. You're not artisting these
I
things.
wish. I sure wish I could do that. But no, I did do a lot of art when I was younger, and I
Mhm.
actually like drew an entire comic book, and I
Nice.
I did a lot of things when I was younger, but I didn't feel like I was really up to par,
Hmm.
and it writing just kind of swept me away. The creating aspect and the imagination kind of swept me away, and I felt like I couldn't do that justice with my own work.
Mm.
So and I really wanted what I envisioned in my head to really come out. And so there's just so many amazing people out there, so many great other artists, and comics are such a collaborative process, and I wanted to like be a part of that and be a part of that collaboration. And
For sure.
so yeah, I definitely I feel like that lends itself to like my scripts and my layouts, because I do provide a lot of layouts, and I have
Hmm.
a lot of ideas of how a page is supposed to look. But
It's
hopefully
interesting.
I don't get in the way. I try not to get in the way of the artist, and I'm always open to hear what they have to say.
Hmm.
But a lot of artists that I've worked with have told me like you have a really good color sense, and you have a really
Mm.
good sense of layout and pacing and uh, panel structure and all of that stuff. So I feel like it helps with the book and makes the book a better product.
Yeah, it kind of has to. You bring up like two things that kind of go hand in hand. They're like vice versa, and I think writers generally, um, I think they all maybe kind of start with this idea that maybe they can do both roles, or maybe they're intrigued about the artist role, and then there's something where like I think both roles, artist and writer, need to kind of try the other side of it just to see
Yeah,
what it's like, because you, even if you don't, if you're not up to speed, or if you're just don't like both roles, you can kind of essentially like learn double, or kind of fill in more gaps than you normally would have. And
yeah,
Zaid is kind of addressing that here, saying the art has a great classic shorthand which paints mental space aligned for readers' imagination to keep with the read. Yeah, so I think he's talking about the
I
art for
can.
seasons when he
Okay.
was looking
Yeah.
for art, which brought it to mind, and that kind of triggered me to think about like when you said you dabbled in art. It makes me think like me and Zayd are both writing books.
Hmm.
That I think of myself as an artist first, and because
Yeah.
that's what I guess not that I think of it first, but that's where it came to first. So you did you ever do like a little tiny? I know you said you drew a book,
Hmm.
but did you do like just when you think about writing, do you ever sketch out them in panels at
Yeah, I
all?
do.
Stick figure?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do. I probably when it came to working on my first book, Seasons, um, I probably did the layouts for. I don't want to say like all of it, but like at least half of it, like in my mind, and
Mm,
I would sketch out all of my like I would thumbnail a lot of it, and I would send those to Anthony, who did the art for the book, and we would go back and forth a lot of the time. He was really cool with everything I was sending him,
mm,
but he got better as an artist, and he started kind of taking more, um, um, I guess, risks and challenging himself with the layouts. And he started like learning, like we started learning from each other, and it was really cool. And as you go from book one to book two, you see him grow as an artist, and like
mm.
the
That's great.
I can't even imagine what volume three is going to look like, because he's gotten so much better, and he was already great, but it's really neat to see that. And he, as we were finishing up volume two, I sort of was like, hey, like you got this, like if you
Mm,
need any layouts, or if you need like a thumbnail or an idea, like let me know, but I'm trusting you, because like you're the artist,
right.
and so it's up to you. And but yeah, even with like Manchild, I uh
Which
have
Manchild,
like
you're on your second issue now, but
yeah.
Manchild first
Yeah,
came
Manchild
out.
issue 1. Yeah, this book right here.
Mhm,
I like this cover here is something I like drew up and I sent to Jay, and I was like, this is what I want the cover to be. I want this guy on a rooftop eating from a bowl of cereal, and with the butterfly wings behind him, and there's like a stack of comics next to him. Like all of that was in my head, and then
mhm.
Jay just puts his like spin on it, and it just makes it way better than I could have done.
Right. It's interesting too, and sometimes sometimes it takes a couple of rounds of back and forth to get the right direction, but sometimes it hits instantly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which is cool. That's something that I kind of in the my new book, my second entry for my book, Star Circuit. I will be getting a colorist, so I'm looking forward to actually having a little back and forth between another
Mm,
collaborator.
yeah.
That's something I've been missing. But I understand how the collaboration is kind of it's historically like one of the cooler things about comics.
Yeah,
How it's
yeah. And
compartmentalized a little bit.
yeah, it's already hard enough when you're doing everything yourself. If you're promoting it, if you're doing the art, it's like it helps to get another perspective and someone else to um carry the load in a way. But at the same time, it's like, I think to myself sometimes, like, am I compromising my artistic integrity? It's like do I
Right.
want to be like one of those purists that like does it all? But the collaboration lends itself to make I think product better than just you doing it all yourself. I mean,
Hmm.
there are some books where I think people can do that, and I think like The Crow is, a perfect example, where it's like that was something James O'Barr, like, that was his book.
Right.
But it helps to get other people involved for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, it's like and with a lot of art, it's not so straightforward. Depending on storytelling is a little different because there are must have kind of things you need to include for all your storytelling to work, like
Yeah,
foreshadowing and framing and just getting everything to set up in the right pace and the right order for it to make sense. Otherwise,
yeah.
that's one of the beginner things that you learn And we brought up like how your artist got better over time.
Hmm.
And I'm sure the storytelling even is getting better on top of like the just the
Yeah.
draftsmanship too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've noticed I've gotten more comfortable, and I've been able to uh, like separate the wheat from the chaff when it comes to how scenes should be laid out, or if I feel like I get stuck at a certain point, I'm able to find ways around those like
Hmm.
um roadblocks in the storytelling. And so it's still difficult, uh but it is a lot easier, and it kind of like when it comes to, I guess, the superhero genre, because like both seasons and Manchild sort of have they kind of dip their feet into that. But
Right.
I've uh I've written recently a like a sci-fi fantasy story, and it was like I was like, man, I thought I was like a better writer, because it was bringing to me a lot of roadblocks,
Hmm.
and it's because I'd never written in that genre before. I had never really like immersed myself into that and tried to create like a world, and doing world building and all of that stuff was something really new to me. And but it got me to like stretch those creative muscles and those
Yeah.
writing muscles. And so the next time I ever do a world building book, or fantasy book or whatever, um I'll know like what works and what doesn't work, and
Hmm.
ways I can bypass things that I kind of struggled with at the beginning.
For sure. Before we jump into like maybe looking specifically at some of your work, that way, we can have visual and that sort of
Yeah.
thing to see what's going on. I want to like ask a quick question. This one is interesting because it applies to a lot of things that I'm kind of interested in outside of, pretty much outside of comics, but outside of a lot of things. There's, I think, in most areas where there's like a skill involved, people start kind of putting their focus on certain things rather than other things. Like for example, you bring up world building, and you
Mhm.
also, I know you're a drummer too, right? I've heard
Yes.
it's heard you
Yeah, I
talk about
am.
it, and I saw it in your Twitter, so I was like, it must be true. So, but a lot of people say, like for example, in like a band, a lot of the driving force between a lot of the instruments are the percussion, the drums.
Yeah.
So I wanted
Yeah.
to see in comics, what's that version for you? A lot of people say in different areas where there's a skill, people either innovate or they kind of hone a specific thing. So are you like
Mhm.
you more classically oriented storyteller, and you kind of just hone that to like perfection, or are you trying to create new and different ways to tell the same old thing in like a an innovating way? And
Yeah.
like what's
Um,
driving the book? Because like I said, we mentioned world building as well. I know me and Zaid are a lot of us, maybe also in comics, but me and Zaid specifically, we really like the world building element, and that drives a lot of the story. What is it
yeah.
for you? What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. It I definitely fall into the category where I like to break the rules when it comes to
Right.
like storytelling, and I like to turn things on its head, and I guess like deconstruct storytelling, but I only want to deconstruct it so I can reconstruct it in a different way.
Mm,
I like to pull things apart at the brainstorming stage, and sort of at the outlining stage, but then when I'm getting ready to script, it's like I'm ready to put all those pieces back, and hopefully they will
right.
they'll bring something to the table that you think the story, or you think or it's familiar enough for you to like, for it to be accessible, but then when you get into it, you're like, wow, this doesn't really remind me of anything that I've really looked at.
Right.
And so yeah, for me, everything I've written, my core, I've and it's something I've realized actually. Only in hindsight do I see this, but I really like to write about change, and I really like to write about uh, progression, and how a character can progress or regress, and what their I'm definitely a character. I mean, I like a character driven writer, but
Hmm.
everything about what I do, it seems to have this underlying theme of like transitioning from one stage to the next. And I mean, you see that with Manchild specifically
Mm,
because it's this metamorphosis idea of a butterfly. But even in
okay.
Lifeline and Seasons, there's just that constant theme of change and
Yeah,
the
that's it's brilliant that like that's it. It almost you can see that just from the titles and just knowing the synopsis or not synopsis, but like
yeah,
the
yeah,
pitch for
and
them. Yeah.
it's something that I didn't set out to do at all. It's just something that I realized about my writing, and so I kind of consider like Seasons, Lifeline, and Manchild to be my like my trinity of change, and
Mm,
hopefully, with this fantasy book that I wrote, it's not like any of that. So I'm hoping to kind of break new ground in different areas when it comes to my next stories. That's kind of a challenge I'm trying to pose to myself.
yeah, and it's crazy because I mean, change is like probably the hardest thing because it's one of the biggest things to do for like just humans is like to let go of
Yeah,
things that you can't
yeah,
control, and change is probably the biggest thing you can't control. Um, it's always going to be there, and if you're trying to fight it, you're not going to have a great time,
yeah,
um, for sure. But yeah, I want to hear about Manchild 1 and 2 because it's it's the in between. I heard a lot about Seasons, even though it's been a while. But
yeah.
yeah, I'm interested in what you're kind of diving into now. Real quickly though, Zayd had not necessarily a question, but kind of building on everything else. So, do you think there's a rhythm in the pacing in like the way you write specifically, like being character
Yeah,
based, or is there like,
no, there is. It's all about the in music. Dynamics are really important, and starting, either starting really loud and getting softer, and then bringing the volume back up, or vice versa, and always that the dynamics of storytelling and how you
mm,
want to, um, have a soft, quiet moment between like characters or a setting or something, and then you wanna bring that up and have that like have this climax building and building, and then it's like an outro to a song where it's just like this
mm,
big, like big, like a big sound, and then you want to bring that back down. And so I definitely see that, and having a sense of rhythm and dynamics into like
right?
what I
I
bring
love
to.
that part, no, like that analogy because it's almost the same analogy as like I don't know, like I think Alan Watts brings it up too, like with dancing and music. It's not really. It's like it's inherently not about the end. Like it's not really
Mm,
like how fast can we get to the end of the song and then it'll be better, or
right, right.
it's more like how well are they like kind of how it brings you to the high moments and lets you kind of easily down to the soft moments. Makes you feel
Yeah.
a certain way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
same thing with
the
storytelling.
best songs are the ones that you don't want to end. It's like
Right.
you know that last chord is gonna hit because it needs to resolve, but you're just like, please, like don't don't stop, like
Right.
just keep it going. But then that's why we listen to songs over, and why we read the stories that we love over again, because it's like we want to experience that sense of pacing and that sense of suspense almost,
Right.
and excitement as you go from one beat to the next.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like that with music. It's whatever different scales and majors and minors and like
Yeah,
they make you
yeah,
feel certain things. It's the same thing with storytelling. Like
definitely.
you
That's
need to
why
have those
that's why
low moments.
soundtracks are so important. Like in movies, it's like if the soundtrack isn't right,
Mm,
a soundtrack can make or break a movie. I mean, like if you have a good soundtrack, it's automatically going to affect the viewer in a more emotional way. I
right.
feel like so.
Yeah. I mean, it's and conversely, if you don't have one at all, if you plan on certain empty kind of moments, negative
Mm,
space moments, when you
yeah,
do bring in the soundtrack, it like super impactful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the dynamics that comes back to that.
Right. There's so many different techniques, and it sounds like you got a mix of you kind of like are an innovator with trying to storytell in a way where deconstruction, but you also bring it back. Whereas like a punk style book might just break the rules and leave them broken
Yeah.
and leave you to feel the brokenness. You
Yeah,
kind of want
right,
you don't want
right.
that feeling necessarily. You want them to like think, oh, maybe yeah, this is different, but I also feel kind of good at the end a little bit. It feels
Yeah.
satisfying, which is interesting. But yeah, I guess tell me maybe the inspiration of Manchild One. I know I missed Manchild One, but what's the basis of the book one and then into book two?
Yeah, so Manchild, this the series came about after the passing of Stan Lee. I was really like upset, like grieved, because I had never met him. I actually was at a convention where he was supposed to be there, but it was like a year or two before he passed,
Right.
and he was sick, so he wasn't able to make the convention. So, when he passed away, I was like, man, I'm never gonna be able to meet Stan Lee, and it kind of started the gears to turn in my head, and thinking about his legacy and that era of comics in a more reverential way. I started to like look at the old stuff. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
grew up with it. I read it, but I never really took it apart. And so I wanted to kind of immerse myself into that era, and because I don't know if we'll ever get that again.
Mm-hmm.
In the those characters are just like ingrained in us, and it's a
Yeah.
generational thing where it's like, is there ever going to be a time when all of these new characters are created and they're going to last for 80, 100 years or whatever? And so
Yeah.
I
Crazy.
wanted, yeah, I wanted to investigate that. And I also wanted to do something um, by investigating that. It started to make me think about the kind of, like, if I were to do like a retro book or a vintage style of comic book, like, what would that look like? And but I didn't want to just do that. I didn't want to just do like a throwback book, because I've seen books like that, and they're fine. But again, that comes back to like innovating and like, okay,
Mm.
so I don't want to just do like a Silver Age story where people just read a Silver Age book and it's like, oh, a little tip of the hat to Stan. I wanted to do something that has those ingredients, and makes people feel that way. It makes people feel like they're 8 years old again, going to a drugstore at a newsstand and picking up, an old Fantastic Four book. But
Mm.
um, then I was like, but I need something else, and that's where the present day story comes in. And so that deals with Rufus. And
Mm.
Rufus is this comic book nerd. He is yeah, he's right there. He's a guy who is stuck. And he lives in his parents' basement. He plays video games. He hangs out with his friends at the comic book store. He goes to the latest superhero film. And he's sort of a snapshot of comic book fandom,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to celebrate that, and I wanted to celebrate what it means to be a fan, but I also wanted to look at um, the complexities of being a fan, and how uh, I have found myself, and I've seen other people in my life sort of be so absorbed in a fantasy that they kind of check out of reality. And I wanted to explore that. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had these two stories, and I was like, okay, reality and fantasy. And, we look at superheroes as like the ideal man and like the ideal uh, person we want to be. And then we have reality, and it's like, we're not that. And so it's this bridging of the two, and this like
Mm.
constant back and forth in this conversation between what reality and fantasy bring, and how we see like little tidbits of fantasy in our own lives. But what makes reality so I mean, what makes fantasy so relatable are those real moments that we read in stories. And it's like, that was just, I felt like that was a gold mine of opportunity when it comes to trying to write a story, especially a comic book, because comics are such an intimate experience when you're
Mm-hmm.
sitting down and you're just like immersing yourself in that. and it's just you in the book. You know, there's no one else reading it at the same time. It's not like you're watching a movie with a lot of people. Um, and the visual element just really comes to play. So
Yeah, people don't
you're
bring that up
reading,
all the time, but it's very
yeah,
personal. It's like that's why like fans of comics maybe are more passionate than other fans because it's almost feels like yeah, it's just you and them. It's not really like this.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And it feels personal when something happens. You know, you're like, oh,
right.
like it's a gut punch, or it's so exciting that you can't wait to share this with other people and want them to read it. And so that's sort of the long answer, but
Mm,
it's a story about reality and fantasy, and you're reading these two stories that take place, and you're reading them simultaneously at the same time. And the
mm,
mystery is, what does this superhero world and the real world have to do with each other? How do they connect? You know,
mm,
is the Monarch Crier, who is the superhero character, is he a figment of Rufus's imagination? Is he a real superhero character that like Rufus grew up with? Is he just like a metaphor for what Rufus wants to be? You know, all of those
right.
things, all of those questions come up, and it's sort of this little hook, this little mystery for the reader to investigate that and figure out what's happening. And it,
Yeah,
yeah, it
really
just,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it has this this dance to it, and I'm really excited about it because you're getting the relatability aspect with Rufus and kind of his everyday life, but then at the same time you're getting a superhero adventure, and so
Mm.
I feel like I'm giving the reader like the best of both worlds because you're able to relate to a character, but you're also able to be inspired by a character and feel that
It's
at
a
the same
big
time.
it's a big deal. I mean, I think that it's a lot of different ways to get people hooked into kind of books and relating to certain things. But yeah, directly seeing a character that you can kind of connect with on top of like this over the top kind of superhero
Yeah.
stuff is a good way. So Man Child One you released last year, or is it this year as well?
Yeah, I've the Kickstarter was last year and it came out earlier this year.
Okay,
So yeah, it's
nice.
the first book is out, and it really sets the stage for Rufus, and where he's going. The book actually opens with the death of his favorite comic book creator.
Mm,
And so just like
homage. Yeah.
with me with Stan Lee, it's sort of a nod to that, and that feeling of a hero, one of your heroes has passed away, and it kind of leaves you with that emptiness of like, okay, but all of his creations live on. And um so we're there with Rufus, and we get to kind of see his friend group and his kind of the culture he's immersed himself in. And
Hmm.
then we are introduced to the Monarch Crier and Professor Pilgrim, who is his arch nemesis. And the Monarch Crier is transported to this mysterious island that Professor Pilgrim has isolated from the world. And so, with when we get to issue two, we are snapped back to where we left off with both of these characters, and we're waiting to see what happens next.
Nice. Yeah, there's like it's got such a classic feel, and I even like I guess the setup seems pretty classic too, and harkening back to
Yeah,
just how books were written before. I feel like today's books are either they're very like honed into something super, so it's like a subgenre of a genre, and
yeah,
not very generally just about something that everyone can relate to, or they're homaging or rebooting. But it's one of the two, and this one seems like just more. It's like a classic kind of story, in the way that not necessarily like the content, but just how you're
yeah.
setting
How
up
how
the
it's
two scenes.
being, yeah, like how it's being delivered.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
totally, totally. I want, like I said, it's like I want people to feel uh, like like they are a kid again and they're reading just a classic comic book story. But the like the adult brain in you, or the adult side of you, is reading it, and you're like, you're like, there's things here that are sort of you know making me think about um, uh, like myself or other people I know, or the outside world, and it kind of
Mm.
helps you reflect a little bit. I
Yeah.
feel like.
It's cool, and I do. That's what kind of drew me to you. Like just hearing you talk on a stream or two. Like you're
Yeah,
very cognizant of kind of the theme, and that's how kind of I like and try to write is based on like the underlying theme rather than a lot of people like to write with plot and specific just the cool things you want to be in a book and then
yeah.
derive something out of that, where a lot of people maybe have it in mind beforehand. Maybe that's how I try to write. It seems like that's kind of what you connect to as well, like a
Yeah,
theme.
no, I all of my stories really kind of start out with like a theme or a message, some that's really how I got into writing. Why I um, became more focused on writing than doing art was I felt like I had like something to say,
Hmm.
and just like not in a condescending way, but like in a way that like um I wanna make people feel excited, and I wanna make people
Hmm.
feel, emotion, and I want them to, like, be sad and happy, like, reading my stories, and really, like, get them to, invest themselves, and, like, I have something to bring to the table in that kinda sense.
For sure. I think it's like a dual kind of thought too, because like the like you don't want to seem like you're condescending, but you want to share the message. But at the same time,
Yeah, yeah.
if you're void of that message completely, it almost seems like junk food. You're like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some books are just really fun, and you're just like
Yeah.
there. You
Yeah.
just want to see cool shit happen, and
Right.
you don't really care if I mean, to me, it's a little curious because I think that's the whole point of stories. Otherwise,
Mhm.
just make an art book. Like why attach overarching thing to it in the first place if you're not trying to send some sort of message, unless that message
Yeah.
is enjoy some cool stuff. But
Right.
yeah, that's why it's curious to me. I just don't connect with it, and like why write a story in the first place if you're not trying to like warn somebody or tell
Yeah,
a
yeah,
certain
if you're
type of
if you're
theme.
trying to, yeah, like, have a not necessarily like a cathartic experience, but, like, bring something that you've kind of dealt with or that you're curious about, and put that in, a piece of art for people to, um, like, feel with you, and
Right.
be a part of that experience, and, I love, I mean, my favorite just growing up, it's like my favorite songs, my favorite movies, my favorite stories were all the were all things that made me like a better person, or made me feel like um oh, I'm learning something. Like this song is teaching me something, or
Mm,
this story is teaching me something about how the real world works, or how how people aren't as black and white as you thought they were. People are
right.
more complex than you ever thought they were, and you really get to learn about just how you know through all this art, specifically when it comes to story, it's like you really get to learn about how people interact with each other, and like people's motivations, it kind of informs the way that you're able to just compose yourself with other people too. And I know for a lot of people, superheroes were like their kind of gateway into learning about morality, and the good and bad of people's intentions, and what it means to be a good person, or what it means to be a bad person, or what it means to be altruistic, and uh, be a hero and not expect anything in return, and those types of things. And those
Right.
are
Yeah.
always like really inspiring traits that you hope to bring to the table as you get older.
You kind of like distill it, yeah, and like have it be something to you or for you,
Yeah.
yeah. It's weird because yeah, when I thought about how what storytelling really was, along the same lines, it's like if maybe that's why I think of it that way. It's just like when people used to tell stories around like campfires and whatnot, it's just like a way for you to like kind of practically, the story was there for fun, and then underneath is this thing that, like the fables used to have, like
Yeah,
warnings for other things, and that's
right.
the real reason why you're so connected to it. It's not like you don't really care about Hansel and Gretel. You care about not getting like kidnapped.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right, right.
Yeah.
You care about, not just trusting anyone who comes about, like trusting strangers. It's like
Right.
that's the lesson.
Right there, and I think that's what a lot of stories these days, not miss, but some. I mean, a lot of them are there. And again, nothing
Mhm.
against like just having cool stories for just cool art's sake. That's the best part about like kind of our civilization. We're at that point where we can just have cool entertainment for entertainment's
Yeah,
sake.
right, right. If
Yeah.
it looks cool, it's cool.
Right. But yeah, there's a reason why you really like the things you do, the movies and art. And it's because like it's tapping into like the limbic system and other things that like you're not cognizant of, but it's
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But yeah, that's probably why I'm so like kind of drawn to your books, is because the like, well, one, the theme of change is kind of insane. I find it like
Mm,
one of the hardest things to kind of deal with as a person. Like the whole point of our brains is like our brains are constantly trying to find this new baseline of comfort and like
yeah.
normalcy. And so with the world around us constantly changing, it's this thing where we're kind of constantly trying to find that new norm, and be
Mhm.
okay with it. But yeah, I'm interested. I definitely want to see where it comes from in your books. Let me bring up the
Cool.
page again as we go, because I
Yeah,
want to talk a little more specifically about how to get a Manchild, especially with this campaign.
yeah, totally.
Let's see.
So you can what's cool about this campaign is you can definitely catch up with issues 1 and 2. They're available as PDFs or as physical copies. And the PDF bundle is like $10, really affordable. You get issues 1 and 2 digitally, and then you also get for issues 1 and 2 physical, it's just $20. So
Okay.
each issue is basically $10.
Did I pass the one
And
and two physical? Oh, here we are. Yeah,
let's see, it should
that one, right?
be like 20. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. That's
So
a good price, man. What's the length of the book before I fully confirm?
the length of it, or
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, each book is see, issue 1 is 24 pages and issue 2 is going to be 28 pages. So
Okay. So pretty close to standard issue
yeah,
length.
yeah.
Nice.
And it's
Okay.
going to be this is a finite series, it's a limited series. It's going to be 6 issues altogether. And I have everything scripted out. I know exactly where everything's going, and I'm really, really excited for what's in store for these characters and where we're going. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's some art pages there. Those It's a
Hmm.
preview from issue 2 that we're scrolling through,
Yeah.
and
Looks great.
just amazing art by Jay. He's a great artist. He What's so cool about him is that he can do the like classic superhero stuff, but also the real life like gritty stuff at the same time. He kind of his expertise is in like the noir genre,
Yeah.
and all of that, and so you kind of see that classic sensibility in his lines and how clean his work is.
Yeah. It's
So I
like that
really
old school kind of. It's the stuff that you just you pick at certain time in history of comics. Like a lot of people were drawing this way, and it kind of
yeah.
slowly switched. I think with like I don't know, after John Byrne or
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, sort of
it
the like Bronze Age, and then as we got into the Image Revolution, it just completely changed. The
yes,
way. So
swapped over.
yeah,
My favorite from this style is probably Mazzucchelli, but
yeah, yeah.
he's got
No,
like
I
that,
love his work so much.
yeah, an
And
insane kind of. I don't think I appreciated it as much as I do now. It's kind of like with Jack Kirby. You kind of have to be at a certain level of I don't know, appreciating comic art to like really get what he did,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
especially
It's like
comparing it to
how
modern. Yeah.
Right, right. It's almost how just yeah, how like I said earlier, how clean everything is, and almost like
Right.
how precise everything is, and like not a lot of like cross hatching or fine detail. It's like all the figures and shapes and the building blocks of what makes like the storytelling so clear. And
Right.
when it comes to comics, it's like that's really what makes or break a comic, is like the storytelling. And if you're able to like read the story even without the writing, would you
Right.
be able to follow it? So
Yeah, and yeah, it's like it's an interesting thing. They embrace comics in a different ways. Like today, it's almost like we're like doing meta comics. Like, oh, we know what comics were, the golden
yeah,
comics, and now we're like, you
right.
know, and almost all the stories. A lot of the stories are even meta stories. They're like,
Hmm.
kind of like yours is kind of like a meta story, right?
Yeah, yeah, it definitely has that little meta like twist in it when you're reading it, because it's like a story within a story, which
Yeah.
definitely kind of lends itself to that fantasy reality theme.
Right, and it's fun because it just that only comes from a generation that lived through the real thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
right, right.
yeah, you wouldn't be able to write this book without actually having the Stan Lee admiration and
Yeah,
reading the
yeah,
books.
it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't exist. Yeah,
You
that's
you
what.
you probably would create something very similar to maybe if you liked that. Let's just say you never read any Stan Lee books, but you
Hmm.
still have the same sensibilities as far as like where you're from. You might recreate something like like whatever, like a Captain America or something,
Yeah,
um, without realizing it because you wouldn't have reference. But so cool that the art style is it's matching this much.
yeah, yeah. And the cool thing about Jay is he does it all. He does the pencils, inks, and colors. So he's doing all of that, and
Yeah,
it
there's something
just
that comes with that when you have one guy. Like it's a different. It's like
yeah,
it's almost like a vision instead of the opposite would be just like we talked about. It's the upside is that you get it out quicker and there's different kind of happy accidents between collaborators.
hmm,
But yeah, he has a vision. He's like another guy might put way more gradients and less flat colors or
yeah, yeah, and then you run into that issue of like that's not how I envisioned that being colored, and then you got to
right.
like talk to the colorist about
Yeah,
okay.
it's weird and as an artist like I again I'm doing it with my second book where I'm going to get a colorist, but I tried it
Yeah,
with my first book and it's not so easy finding somebody that has
it's
the same
not.
kind of you
Yeah,
know
it really isn't. It just changes the whole vibe of the book.
hmm but yeah, I dig the old school kind of feel for the letterings. You can just tell, like when you see a book and just the way it's lettered, the fact that you even have thought balloons, things like that, or
Yeah,
harken
yeah, I
back.
know. I love. See, I miss that. I miss thought balloons so
Yeah,
much.
it's
And
totally
e-
different. Yeah,
yeah, even though we have like the narration, the kind of inner like monologues or dialogue that like characters have in modern day comics, I like just the way the thought balloons like are done with the lettering, and how it makes everything feel a lot more like in the moment.
yeah.
And like whatever the character is experiencing, it's like, oh, they're thinking about that right then,
Right.
and yeah.
I couldn't put it in the words, but you kind of just did. I couldn't put it in the words when I talked to Pete Cimenti about this because he's got King Cryptid with
Yeah,
Nocturna, and we
yeah.
talked about using thought balloons. But yeah, you bring it up right now, like that. The thought balloon is more immediate. The difference between the caption seems like it's like they're looking back on it as a
Yeah.
storyteller for you.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. And so yeah, it just adds another like a sense of urgency and a sense of intensity to to the scene, to the character. It's
yeah.
like they're really in it at that moment, and it's almost like, oh crap, it's always like an oh crap moment where they're like, like I can't believe this is happening, and you
Right.
get
Yeah. It's
there.
always like, yeah, it's too sudden for me.
Right.
Heroinberg is here. Heroinberg, I have not seen you around because it's I've been out and about. But great you're here. Throwing out the link for Manchild 1 and 2. It's there on Kickstarter. we got a little bit more to go, but definitely, guys, the link is in the description of the video. So anytime you want to go check it out, do so. As well, Heroinberg's got it in the chat now. So thanks for coming by. Also says, hey, thanks for the tip on Antiquarium, and Nandor, thanks. Best wishes for this fun series.
Thanks. Yeah, the Antiquarium is a local comic book store of mine, and so Herrenberg has his own books, and I told him like it's a great place to get in contact with. So I'm glad
Yeah,
that's working
it's
out.
local shops, and just getting physically there is half the battle sometimes.
Yeah.
These days, not as much because a lot of things online, but it does help to get some physical presence. And Bud is here. What's up? Bud is what we call him because he's always a Bud. And Zayd is around. He's not on the show right now, Bud, but he's definitely hanging out, watching, and contributing here and there. Good stuff. I really like. It's just like Alterna. I'm really glad you guys exist because if I don't know where would we get stuff like this if you didn't like
Yeah,
if you didn't make
yeah.
it.
I know, and of course we needed going to the second issue. We needed a giant robot. That was
Yeah,
something that that's one of those like it's just cool because it's cool kind of ideas
yeah,
where I just thought to myself like, yeah, we really need this giant robot and this like um I love the Sentinels from the X-Men, and what's
hmm
really cool is that when I've shown this design to people, they're like, "Oh man, that kind of reminds me of like the Sentinels from the X-Men," and I'm just like, "Yes, we did
that's
it,
exactly, yeah.
we got it."
And
And I want,
simplified too, Kirby style. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
nice.
it almost has that like celestial, like Eternals, kind of
Yeah,
design elements to it, and um, yeah, I just I loved it, and I wanted to do something that was it reminded me of the Sentinels, and also like in old Captain America comics, there were these robotic figures called the Sleepers, and they were
I
like
remember that.
these yeah, created robots that like the Nazis like created during World War II and all of that.
Hmm
So I wanted some of those Kirby design sensibilities in it, and yeah, it came out so great. I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, I'm stoked to see. I mean, it's intriguing because just for the style effect, you're kind of like, oh, I wonder what else they do with certain situations in this book, and
Yeah.
yeah, man, like I again really dig it. And it's a little and I can't. I'm a kind of contrarian. I'm like whenever the majority of people are doing one thing, I kind of like, maybe this other counterculture is kind of cooler. And right now,
Yeah.
pretty much the old school way and the traditionalism is counterculture these days, which is fun.
I know it is. Yeah, it's kind of weird how that worked out.
It kind of like flip flopped. You're like, when did this happen? It used to be, you go watch. I was watching Mr. Show, like that's Odin Kirk and David Cross's old show. I
Oh,
was watching that
yeah.
yesterday. And you're like, that's kind of the counterculture stuff they were bringing up back in the day, and it's like it would be a totally different show if they would make it in today's day. You're like, they would be talking about traditional values instead of the opposite.
Yeah,
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 it's funny.
totally. But yeah,
Um, Great.
yeah, you can. What's cool too about this campaign is if you're interested in any of my other work, you can get all of my previous books too.
Oh,
There's
really?
actually, yeah, there's actually a bundle tier called the Foxhole Comics bundle,
Is it
and
top? Maybe.
no, it's it should be lower. I think it's around like $90 or something.
It is 50. So, oh, it's done. But yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, you
That's a
get
good one.
seasons volumes 1, 2, Lifeline, and Man-Child issue 1 and Man-Child issue 2. And so for anyone who's out there who's like, okay, I want to read everything Nandor's done, you
Hmm
get you get a really good deal on all of this because it's over 300 pages of comics. You get 2 hardcovers, 1 trade paperback, and 2 single issues.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
it's a
that's
lot.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like things like the bundles. I think is probably the coolest part about crowdfunding. Besides the fact that you're a lot of times you're funding the it being made in the first place, which
Yeah,
is
I mean,
cool.
it's a great way to like help like raise funds really easily, and then you get a lot of stuff. You know, you get a lot more stuff
Yeah.
than you would
Number
normally.
two is like the bundles. You're like, okay, you're getting probably exclusive art sometimes, and sometimes
Yeah,
also a
yeah.
bundle.
Totally. So
Very
yeah,
cool.
I love doing that, and you know, a lot of people did it on the first campaign for Manchild, and so it's really exciting for me as a creator to like send everyone my books and be like,
Hmm.
oh, you know, like you guys are gonna, you know, see sort of my evolution as a writer and a creator,
Right.
and it's just really fun for me.
So you bring up these, if you like, kind of situations. If you like these things, you might like Manchild,
Yeah.
or you'll love Manchild rather. So out of these, are these like specifically ones that you saw, or are you like really big fans of all of these examples?
I am actually. I've read most of these, and maybe not the entire runs of them, but
Yeah.
definitely tidbits here and there. And
Okay.
so, and what these have all in common is that like a modern day comic, but when you read it, you feel that sense of nostalgia when you read it, and you have that you know, besides the Lee Kirby and Ditko, I mean those are the
Yeah.
originals, but like Kurt Busiek's Astro City is like basically Kurt Busiek doing like Marvel and DC comics in his
Hmm.
own world, like creating his own
Right.
superhero universe and all of that, and really just like, gosh, so good. Like those reading Astro City is like um reading old school comics,
I'm
and
gonna check it out because I've only seen it and not read it. Yeah.
yeah, you've probably seen those Alex Ross covers, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. That's probably it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then Mr. Miracle by Tom King and Mitch Gerards. That was a book that came out recently that
Hmm.
was just really interesting to me because it was like dealing with really like modern day like issues, but in a classic setting, you know, and the
Hmm.
way it was written had a lot of the Silver Age sensibilities, and so you know
Right.
everything was like exclamation marks, you know, and it had all of that um, like almost operatic like drama to it,
For
and
sure. Yeah. I
so
can
yeah,
see that.
I really dig that, and same with Madman and Black Hammer.
Hmm.
Both of those books, it has that classic feel, but it's just something that's come out in the last, you know, 5 to 10 years, and so you
Right. It's not
really,
classic in itself. Yeah.
yeah, right, right. So I feel like if people have read any of those, or if they've been interested in any of those, Manchild is right up their alley where they'll
Okay.
feel the most comfortable.
Yeah, I feel like for most people, just because it's the most popular, it would be, like Stanley and Kirby's stuff is like
Yeah.
it's just more widespread. So you're gonna probably remember more of that. But um, let's see if there's some things that you can get extra. Is there something else that we haven't talked about as far as like this campaign specifically?
Well, I do want to point out the variant covers right there.
Sure.
Yeah, those are a couple of the variant covers that you can get for issue 2, and the first one's by Marco Rudy. He worked on Bucky Barnes series for Marvel, and
Hmm.
also did some new Avengers stuff. He did a new 52 Swamp Thing with Scott Snyder. He's a
Cool.
really awesome
Yeah,
painter,
we
and
passed by the art. Let me
um,
go scroll real quick and
yeah, sure.
check some art. There we go.
And what's so cool is I actually he sent me the original art for that piece. So
Nice.
it's all traditional. That's a traditionally painted piece.
Nice.
And it's beautiful. It's stunning. And it's the Monarch Crier. He's on a seashore there, and
Hmm.
he's emitting his like vocal amplification like scream, and it's like sending the waves, you know, towards him, and like, you know, making them expand, and his wings. What's cool about Rudy's work is that everything he does is like very abstract. He always has this abstract
Element. Yeah.
touch to his work. Yeah, and so his wings are like a flame like behind him, you know. And
Mm.
so that's what you're seeing there, and it's just it's really something, you know. It's a trippy piece, you know. You're like,
Yeah, for sure. And seeing that on a comic cover, you're like, it's interesting because like I mean, it just instantly stands out.
yeah, yeah. And
Cool.
then the other one is by Jim Rugg. And anyone who follows the Cartoonist Kayfabe YouTube channel,
Hmm.
he is a co-host on there with Ed Piskor,
Right.
and yeah, he's an awesome guy. I love him. And he did that cover. So
Cool.
really
Yeah.
really excited to have him a part of the
Yeah, we were
series.
looking at that cover for a long time on the stream. Like so,
Yeah.
we finally get a little bit of a we get closure on it. It's Jim Rugg. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like that cover a lot.
Yeah,
Something
I love
about
the
having the big robot like cropped is a huge decision. Like it's a weird decision, but I like it. It's like
yeah.
it
Yeah, it
makes it
has
seem
that
too big. Yeah.
it's like he's charging, he's sort of out of like, I don't want to say like out of focus, but like, he's it really gives that sense of scale,
Yeah, that's
and
what.
putting him up there at the corner, and like the Monarch Crier charging, him like from the little cliff, and it's like, okay, how is this butterfly character gonna take on this huge, massive
Gigantic.
skyscraper robot? So
Yep, it's nuts. It's yeah, that's what it's a good like that technique is working great there for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, man. Yeah, so variant covers are always fun. So you can get them here. I'm sure there's a bundle or two for those, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, there
Okay,
are.
cool.
So yeah, you can get them signed. You can get an exclusive art print that's for this Kickstarter, which is that piece right there, of the
Okay,
Monarch Crier, like flying in the air. That's done by Stephen Perkins, and
okay,
he's a really amazing artist. He did a book for Image a few years ago, and he's doing a lot of commissions right now. But that's actually a part of a fan art contest that we're running right now too, where anyone who like sends fan art,
hmm,
we're going to uh, take a poll, take a vote, and we're going to put the winner in the comic itself. So
cool.
your piece is going to be in the second issue.
You hear that? Anybody that because this is an art channel, so like anybody that on the rewatch because I know this is Sunday morning, but on the rewatch, guys, definitely check this out. If you've gotten through this stream so far, it means that you're definitely liking what you're seeing. So take one step further and just like do a little fan art. I'm sure you guys are artists if you're watching this channel.
Yeah, it's a great way to spread the book around and also to get your work seen. And
Yeah.
the deadline, there really is no deadline until like before print. Before we put the files together. So it's not like
Okay.
you have to get it done before the campaign ends. Like
Right.
if you're watching this and you're like, it's like just send it as soon as you can, and before we get the files, all compiled. So yeah,
Heck
there's a
yeah.
lot of time there.
Yeah, I will be. I'll be spreading that. I always spread around, like news about fan art contests because it is a good way to like get your art out there as like an up and coming kind of
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So it's cool that you have so many options. That's everybody you can get like obviously all covers is a good option for everybody that you want to jump in on the exclusive stuff that you can only get now.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. You be a collector.
and I see this original ink sketch on the side here as well.
Yeah,
As
and
well.
that's yeah, we're almost to it on the graphic there. And
Okay. Oh,
yeah,
on the graphic part. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was thinking of.
So there is an example of the ink sketch that you'll get from Jay, and that's actually a piece that someone got for the first issue. So that's
Okay.
a and it's not like a 5x7. It's like he did it on like an 8x10 paper piece. So like it's a good size,
Nice.
and it's inked. It's not just a sketch or a pencil. It's
Yeah.
uh
Finalized and
yeah, yeah. I mean, like when he sent them to me, like, cause I wasn't expecting him to ink it, and he was like, "No, I want to." And I'm like, "All right, man. Like, if that's what you
yeah.
want to do."
Yeah.
He takes a lot of pride in his work, and so that's really great to see. And
For sure.
it came out amazing. I'm really really proud of what he's
Artists
able to
tend to
do.
be pretty specific, like about what they do or what they what people see, unless they're
Yeah,
clearly drawing like something that's a work in progress. But yeah, they're generally pretty particular. Like I'm okay. I'm like I'm confident in this stage of my work, or
yeah,
the finish matters, especially when it comes as like a piece of a printed thing or like an original
Yeah, yeah.
for sure.
But yeah, you
And
can
then,
get
oh, speaking of originals, yeah,
yeah, you can get original art. And what's cool about all of these tiers, I just want to let everyone know who's watching, is that all of these like basically just layer on top of another. So like if you get an original page from Man Child Issue 2, like you're getting a page, you're getting an ink sketch, you're getting drawn into the story, you're getting your name in the acknowledgments, you're getting the book itself, you're getting the exclusive art print. Like you're getting all of the tiers that were before it. So
yeah, that's
um
killer.
yeah, it's an amazing deal, and it's something that I've always done with all of my campaigns, and it's just
I know I
something I
see it
love.
in, as like blue line on the page. I don't want to interrupt, but is it will it be inked like are all the pages inked or are they like penciled or how do they kind of
I believe they're all blue line. Yeah, I believe they're
okay,
all
blue line.
penciled. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, that's good to know. I mean, that's something that people want to know. Sometimes they're like wanting to frame it in a different way, like have it looked
Mm,
finished. Some
yeah.
guy like I have a bunch of art that I love pencil work, and some of it's inked, but I like pencils, and so even though that's not the finish, that to me that's a finish. I
Yeah.
respect that almost more than the ink stuff, but that's just my call. So anybody out there that really wants a good collection and you want some original art for it's really cheap. Like you're not gonna find a better deal than this. I don't think. That's
No,
pretty awesome.
no, yeah, that's the whole goal. Yeah, it's like
Solid deal.
we want you to feel like you're getting a deal and that you're really helping out the campaign. So
Hell yeah. So on the add-on section, is this something that no matter what kind of uh, one you pick, you can always add on something from here? Is that the point?
yeah, yeah. So you can add on that art print, and then you can add on the different variant covers from issue 1. So all
Cool.
of those are covers done for that were printed for issue 1, and they're available. So if you're wanting to catch up, or if you missed out on one of the variant covers from the first campaign,
Yeah.
as you go through the checkout process, you'll get prompted with an add-on, and then you can pick your cover that you want.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I feel like that would be a perfect kind of combination. It'll be something I'll be looking into because I'm interested as well. It's all about funds really for me, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
you know how
totally,
it goes.
totally.
But I'll be looking at all the perks and seeing something that works. But either way, even if you wanted the original page plus the getting it all, but you want to also get Manchild one, you can totally add it on, which is great.
Yeah, yeah. If there's a specific cover, I mean, a
Yeah,
lot of them are really great, and a lot of them were done by like DC and Marvel professionals, and
nice. Yeah, they
like
just from here they look great. Because
yeah, yeah. They're so good. I'm really proud of the variant covers.
the covers for comics are like a special breed for
Yeah,
sure. So
yeah.
we have a stretch goal here at 5,500 to get a nice sticker, right?
Yep, yeah, that's going to be a sticker that all backers will get, all physical reward tier backers. Once we hit 5,500, yeah,
Yeah,
you'll
we're
get this very cute, fun little sticker. So
nice. That's something I'm always into. Little stretch goals and whatnot. Stickers are actually one of the ones I actually do like because I don't know. Some people do different things that maybe just get put into a bundle of things. But stickers, at least it's permanent. It's easy. I can put it on like some of my like
yeah, you
stuff
can
that I
put
put
it
stickers on.
anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
those.
it's
But
unique.
yeah, I really want to emphasize, guys, that the link is in the description. Like the books look great from Nandor, and I really, if you're like a person that really thinks there's, if you're of same mind of like these classic stories and art. We have a trailer too that we can play. So yeah, definitely check the link in the description. It's also in the chat. We're not too far away from that stretch goal. So
Yeah, yeah, we
awesome.
got just less than a week. We got 6 days, and we're about like $800 out from hitting the goal. So I'm hoping.
Awesome.
I think we'll
Yeah.
make it. I think we'll do it. We're on track for it. But yeah, I'm really hoping that we can get this book made, and
hmm
we can get
I'll share it as well after this and get it, try to spread it as much as I can.
awesome.
And that's all you can do as like a, creator is just like put it out there, get people seeing it.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
So I'm gonna play the trailer. Is it something I should play, or is it really long,
It's about it's about 3 minutes.
Okay,
It is kind of on the longer side, but
maybe I'll play it
it
on the way out. Is that would be cool?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that would be a good way to do it. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. We'll save it for the last little bit because we're running out of time on my end. But the few things I want to emphasize is one that this you're not going to find something like this kind of not many people besides like Alterna is one another example. There's some other indie creators that really emphasize this classic feel, right?
Yeah.
But you're one of a few. Not there's not a lot. The majority is not this way. We'll say. Um, so really support indie comics. I enjoy supporting indie comics because even if you go find something like this that are done by a bigger publisher and or something, it's still not doesn't have the same feel. You don't feel as connected to it.
Yeah, yeah. And you're the thing about this story is it's really coming from a personal place for me, and it's coming from a place where, I'm injecting all of my like passion and my heart into this book in a way that is not being stripped apart through editorial or through a big company. It's like you're getting everything you get, you see is like me putting it out there. And so
Right.
I'm putting a lot of myself and my sensibilities into the story. And so you're getting purely just creativity at its best. And that's what I love about indie comics is that there's no red tape. It's like
Right.
there's nothing. It's just you and the consumer. You and the customer.
Right. No
And I
one's
love that transparency.
and especially like crowdfund stuff. That's the whole point. That's why the Patreon is cool, kind of as well. It's like
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about ads and kind of appealing to different people and their ads or whatever. You have no one else to appeal to except the person that
yeah,
actually wants the content.
yeah,
So
yeah. And this is a 28-page book, and there's no ads.
yeah, that's yeah, it's a big deal. You got a
Right,
20
right,
you got a 24-page book these days, and like you're lucky to get 22.
right. I know.
Yeah, for sure. So uh, it's really cool that you got this out. Before we roll, I want to bring up the couple things that I've got coming on
Totally.
for my book, which Star Circuit is a cyberpunk book. It's totally different than. I never realized this until people started. I don't know, like until I actually put it out as a product and people started buying it. But
Mm.
a lot of my sensibilities all kind of go back to like sci-fi and cyberpunk and like these kind of futuristic type of themes. Even if there's like a fantasy element, it's always got a science kind of thing there. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize, I really didn't till I was like, man, everything I like is kind of like even superheroes. I'm always like Green Lantern or something that's like
Mhm.
sci-fi element is there.
Yeah, dude,
It's
Green
interesting.
Lantern. He's something else. I love Green Lantern.
Yeah, dude. I like just the evolution. It's almost like the meta stories on that too are weird. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so my studio is I'm wearing my hat now that we're selling, but Veravia Studios is my kind of overall arcing thing that I put all my work under. The biggest thing I do is comics. I do storyboards as well, but that's mostly for paying the bills. This is kind of what I care about most is Star Circuit, which is the book I've been kind of racking my brain around for a while. It's like this theme of kind of obsolete, this obsolete kind of journey of humans. Like, when are we going to actually be less relevant? And at some point, we will be, but not yet. In the
Yeah,
future,
yeah. That's
in
so
the
cool,
future,
man.
androids will definitely be a threat to our like purpose and our like worth, maybe at least on the surface. And that's kind of what's happening here in this story.
Mm.
Androids have become the best racers out there, and humans kind of get I don't know, swept under the rug, and like we stop caring because a lot of things, automation, that sort of thing, will keep the masses kind of just in that status quo range of not
Yeah.
unhappy but happy enough. And one crazy street racer kind of gets convinced that maybe we'll strive for like the top again. Maybe we'll go for it. And so that's what book one starts it off as. It's this kind of story of this street racer that is, kind of stuck without a purpose, like most people in this world. And
Yeah.
and at some point he kind of switches over. But you can get this is the only way to get this variant cover from the campaign, which we did really well. But this is from Kanan White and Steve Furcow, the great Steve Furcow, who did a lot of image books and
Dang,
back
yeah,
in the day. So it's really cool to have his colors on an IP of mine. Really,
definitely.
really love that dude. But yeah, check out the book, guys. It's the only time you're going to be able to get it, because when I come out with chapter 2, which is 90 pages, I'm currently working on, you won't have this opportunity. So yeah, go check out the website. It's also in the description. A few other things are here. I actually have a piece of original pencils, which is the farther I don't ink, so I
Yeah.
usually don't ink anyway. But my pencil work here for one of John Malin's books, a little side art book. You get the really expensive, but it's one of my favorite pieces ever. So I it's one of those, like, I don't want people to buy it, so I marked it
Yeah.
up very
You
very
make it a
high.
little high. I get
Yeah.
that.
So it's mine until you can buy it off me. This is the Veravia hat I'm wearing, and it just is there to help support. And if you want to, like, support some, I'm just a fan of white caps. It's like not many white caps out there. So
You're right. You're right about
yeah,
that. I like
yeah.
that.
Go check out a white cap if you just want to support. Maybe you don't want to read a book, or you don't want to take your chances just yet. Otherwise, this book is killer. It starts out very, very fast paced, and it keeps the pace. It's almost like my meta theme. The pacing is
Yeah.
fast. So keep at it. It's a crazy cliffhanger. So chapter 2 will definitely fulfill everything and really kind of answer the questions. But that's
It's
it for
awesome.
my
It
little
looks
promo.
amazing, Joe. I remember when you were putting this out and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this book looks awesome." So
Thank
I'm
you,
really
man.
excited for you. I think you're doing amazing stuff.
Well, I mean, it's hard to, like it, dude. It's such a grind to get people, get yourself to make it, and then do the next
Yeah.
part, which is get people to view it. And
And then to talk about it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's
it's
like
so hard, and live life, and, like, let's say you got a family or whatever else, just mowing the lawn at the same time on the
Oh
weekends
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. Doing the regular real life stuff is hard, and creating it's a challenge sometimes.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, come here, feel real with some of my stories, and yeah, it's up there. It's in the chat, or not in the chat, in the description. Go click on it. It's cool. Also in the description is my buddy. I'm wearing it right now. Jeremy's book, which is in sign up, so it doesn't cost anything to go sign up. His book looks like to be one of the most detailed books ever made.
Yeah, I've been seeing this on Twitter. It looks rad, man.
Yeah, dude, it's like this, I don't know if he likes my description of it as like this European style, but there's something there. It's got this, like, it's like a mix between, like, a European style and like Japanese concept art, and like
Yeah, yeah.
some crazy mix of those things. And I know that's kind of where his influences are. But yeah, super stoked for this book. I know the story, but because I've helped, like, bounce some ideas off of him. But this is one of my favorite covers of anything
Yeah.
out there. It's like
That's a
something.
wraparound, right?
Yeah, it's a wraparound, and even just
Dude.
framed as
Yeah.
the front cover, it might be one of my favorite covers ever. But
Yeah, man, that is so cool.
nuts. He puts a lot of work into it, obviously. So go sign up. At the very least, you will get access to an exclusive perk when it does launch very soon. Like, I think he's planning very soon, like this season.
Dang.
So in the fall, I'm sure. But so let's move back to the last little bit, which is hyping up Man-Child 1 and 2. We're going to watch the trailer on the way out, because I've got to, speak of the devil, go mow the lawn and then draw comics. But that's how it goes. So Man-Child 1 and 2, along with all the other books that you have, Nandor, which one's your favorite, by the way? Oh, is it the current one, or?
Man, that is so hard.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna stick with that safe answer. It's this one. So
Yeah, I feel like a lot of creators, whatever you're currently working on tends to be, you're just so wrapped up into it, even if it's
yeah,
like an illusion, it feels real. Uh, that's how I think of it anyway. Unless you get, I don't know, sometimes other things. Sometimes the book that pays the bills is your favorite. you know,
right,
like
right. Yeah, the one
whatever's selling
everyone
the most.
talks about. Yeah,
But yeah,
totally.
I'm stoked to see more. I'm gonna definitely gonna get one of the perks. I just, take some time to, like, sort through, especially something like this where there's so many options.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
I'm going to look through it
Totally.
later on. Everybody go check it out. We're going to play the trailer. Let me switch over to one that actually has audio real quick, and we can actually hear it. So what's going on currently? You're going to continue working on comics, or are you moving into something more artistic or less artistic? Who knows?
No, yeah, no, I'm gonna be still working on Manchild, and like I said, I am working on this fantasy sci-fi book. So that will be there'll be announcements for that soon. We're working on character designs right now for it, me and my artist, and it's gonna be unlike anything else I've done. So be
Nice. Well, if
ready,
you ever want to
everyone.
like, throw me a DM about like maybe a sneak peek that, check this out. Is this cool enough kind of thing? I would
Yeah,
happy
no,
be
no,
happy. I love watching like concept art be transformed,
yeah,
especially sci-fi
totally.
stuff.
Yeah, me too, me too. And as we get closer to getting all the designs done, I'm going to start posting those character designs and getting people hyped up for it. And I do have I want to let everyone know I do have a newsletter. So
Yeah.
my brand is Foxhole Comics. So just type in foxholecomics.substack.com.
Okay.
You'll find me there, and you can sign up, and that'll give you exclusive access to things I'm working on and sneak peeks and all of that stuff. And
Okay. Said
then I
Foxhole
also
Comics at uh,
no, just foxholecomics.substack.com.
.substack. I don't know why I said at substack.com. Okay,
Yeah,
that way I can get in the description or in the chat real quick. Foxhole Comics. Is it all spelt normally? Is that
it
what I'm
is.
looking
Yeah.
for? Okay, let's see it. Let's see if it goes and be clickable. We'll see. Um, so yeah, go check it out. Go click the link. Hopefully it works. Maybe it's not clickable. Maybe I have to put HTT whatever.
Right.
We'll do
Yeah.
that. But yeah, so you do weekly updates or monthly or something like that?
It's pretty bi-weekly. Every 2 weeks I'll post an update, and I'll share new things that are going on.
Okay.
And I share exclusive sneak peeks to books I'm working on, and if I'm doing a signing there, or if I'm on a live show, I'll let everyone know about that. And try to just keep everyone attuned to what I'm working on, and also things that I'm just interested in, and
Okay.
want to kind of comment on.
Yeah, I like
Um,
that. That's what I during the interview. A lot of it was not even talking about the current project, but that's what I like most. I like hearing the outside stuff, the influences,
yeah,
the
yeah,
interests.
totally.
That's what's
Yeah, so
because then like especially with this book, it probably informs a lot of what you're writing about. So
definitely, definitely.
guys, we're gonna play this trailer on the way out. Nandor, it's been a pleasure. Glad we got to do this.
Yeah, man, I loved it. It was a great time.
For sure, best way to do a Sunday morning for sure. It's like I haven't done it in a while, so I forgot how cool it was. But definitely cool to
Yeah.
talk to another creator. Let me see if this thing buffers out and does well for us. Give me 1 second. I should have
Right.
preloaded it while we were talking. We'll just do it for a second. Oh, it's preloading nicely. Awesome. So I'm gonna put this full screen. We're gonna have a good old time watching it. Everybody have a good Sunday. It's been a rad morning. We'll see you. I don't know exactly what day, but we're going to be doing an art pros one day this week at some point. I'm sure we'll fit it in. Nandor, you can support him again. Foxhole Comics at Substack.com. Hit the link in the description for Manchild. You can get all his books on the campaign. And again, VeraviaStudios.com for me. That's also in the description for my books. Yeah, it's been fun, Nandor.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
it's so fun. Yeah, we'll see you around in the Twitterverse, I'm sure.
Sweet.
All right. See you next time, guys.
I'm award-winning comic book writer Nandor Fox Schaefer, and welcome to my 5th Kickstarter campaign where, with your support, we hope to raise enough funds for the production and printing of Manchild Issue 2. Spinning directly out of the events of Manchild Issue 1, Monarch Crier is held captive on Professor Pilgrim's mysterious island and faces off against a menacing robot of giant-sized proportions. Meanwhile, Rufus and gang attend the midnight showing of the most anticipated superhero movie of the year. Will it live up to their expectations? Find out in the next installment to this fun, heartfelt exploration of comic book culture with an action-packed superhero adventure twist. Last year, 163 backers came together to bring the premiere issue of this series to the masses, and the books came out better than I could have ever imagined. Myself, artist Jay Mazar, and letterer DC Hopkins are aiming to bring the same quality to the second issue with every page. We're bringing back the same exciting rewards to this campaign, like being able to be drawn to the story, getting the original page from the series, getting your name in the acknowledgement section of the book, and getting an original ink sketch from Jay Mazar himself. Man-Child Issue 2 also has show-stopping variant covers from two of the very best comic book artists in the industry right now. I'm talking about Jim Rugg, who you may know from the Cartoonist Kayfabe YouTube channel, and painter extraordinaire Marco Rudy. You can also get the previous variant covers from the first issue in the add-on section of this campaign. These include variant covers from Eisner Award-winning artist Tony Harris, Tom Riley, Welby, and Nick Pitara. If you're looking for a comic book story filled to the absolute brim with heart, humor, a passion and love for superheroes, a story that celebrates comic book fandom and honors the life and legacy of Stan Lee. If you've never picked up a comic book before, or you're wanting to get back into comics, then Man-Child is a book for you. There's so much in store for these characters, and you're going to want to be a part of it, so please back this campaign today, and let's rediscover together why superheroes and comic books are so special. Thank you.